Look at little Goblin Jr.
I wasted my life playing video games and we're gonna die.
Gonna cry?
Savage.
Spoiler review for Spider-Man No Way Home. I just got out of the theater not long ago. Chrissy's going to see it tomorrow, so I actually haven't had a chance to to talk to anybody about this. So I'm hoping to have a conversation with you guys in the comments. If this video is auto-playing and you haven't seen the movie yet, please turn it off, go see the movie, then come back. But you'll probably forget, because since you've watched a little bit of it, YouTube will never recommend it again. Why don't we start with initial thoughts?
Ooh-wee!
The film was amazing. It was spectacular, sensational, monumental, a testament to this new age of cinema, you know, this age of reboots and remakes and things nobody asked for. Here, you know, someone who grew up going to see these Spider-Man movies in the cinemas with Tobey Maguire, with Andrew Garfield, with these villains that are in the film, all culminating and coming together in this piece was, I don't know if there is a word for it. I guess you could just say that it's gloriously satisfying. But it's not without flaws. So, you know, we'll get into the great stuff and, you know, we'll get into the flaws as well here. This film was a lot of fun, as, you know, is to be expected, right? It's an experience, and it's meant to be seen in the theaters for sure, but there's also quite a surge with Omicron, so, you know, everybody that is seeing it in theaters, please be careful and stay safe. Now, one prospect that really excited me going into this film was, having worked on several Marvel projects, including a couple of Spider-Man movies, I didn't work on this one, so I was expecting to go in blind. Granted, every single villain that you see in the movie was in the trailers. I was hoping that, like, you know, there would have been some, you know, twist or thing in there, and of course with the end credit scene, yeah, but, you know, even then it's up in the air what that means, right? I thought that they were bringing Venom into the, you know, the MCU, you know, with Tom Hardy, having him be like someone that got forgotten by Doctor Strange, which would have been very interesting. But instead, we just see him get sent back as well, and only a piece of the suit remains. So, yeah, we're gonna get Venom. It's just going to be a different Venom. I guess Kevin Feige doesn't want Tom Hardy as Venom. I don't know. I was expecting at least Jake Gyllenhaal to come back in some fashion. That was a missed opportunity. There was a lot that could have been done. That was sort of a disappointment. The fact that you already went in knowing all of the villains. But one of the greatest things was actually not knowing how important Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin was going to be in this version. And it only makes sense that you take Spider-Man's, you know, like, arch nemesis, his Joker, if you will. And Willem Dafoe really is he's an actor that actually should have played the Joker at some point in his career, because he just would have been the best Joker of all time. Just think about the way he acts in this movie and just put white makeup on him with the lips, and, you know, he's the Joker. But he was fantastic, you know, and having him, you know, create all of this pathos for Tom Holland, sensational. And you know, my favorite aspect was actually how much of a bum he looked, you know, because that's actually how he should look, tattered, you know, with a hood over his head, not looking like a robot. You know, I never really gelled with his outfit in, you know, the 2000 Spider-Man movie. But hey, you know, neither here or there. And they also, you know, the redesign for Elektra was great as well. One thing that I was pretty much expecting in the film, So it wasn't necessarily a big surprise to me, but I see that it has been a surprise for a lot of people, and I'm very happy. Is Charlie Cox reprising his role as Daredevil, in at least one scene of the movie. And, that was fun. But Chrissy's brother, Steve Varley, he has a YouTube channel. He does interviews with celebrities. He had an interview with Charlie Cox a couple of months ago. And he basically asked him, like, hey, without saying these words, are you in No Way Home? And he didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. But, the way he answered the question basically told me, yes, he's in the film.
I wouldn't want to ruin something either way. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so.
Sure. And then seeing Hawkeye on Wednesday, and how that bridged the gap between the Netflix shows to begin with, it really made me walk into this saying, I'm totally going to see Charlie Cox. I wanted more. And I think that's the problem with, they already gave so much, and I really should just be like, thank you for doing this thing that we never had any idea could ever happen in our wildest imaginations, and it happened. Toby, Andrew, Tom, all together. it's crazy, and I mean, really all I wanted was them pointing at each other, and we got some sort of a variation of that. Not in their suits. I wish it might have seemed forced, but I wish it still happened. We got a little bit of Bully Maguire as well. When Ned came up and was just like, so do you have a guy in the chair too, or whatever he said? And he was just like, yeah, I had a best friend. Died in my arms after he tried to kill me.
Gonna cry?
I just wanted to get added into the rotation of Bully Maguire. And if you don't know what Bully Maguire is, do yourself a favor and look it up on YouTube. There's a million videos, and I'd say most of them are funny. It's great. That's great. Alfred Molina, he was one of the best parts of the film. And how can you go wrong, right? He was already perfect. Spider-Man 2. The only Spider-Man 2 that I didn't work on. Contractually obligated to work on only Spider-Man 2s. Okay? So, don't forget to call me when there's a new trilogy. Man, Aunt May, that was
Gonna cry?
in the arms of the angels fly away. Wasn't expecting to go that route, but they were taking a lot of cues from the Spider-Man video game for the PlayStation. For those of you that have played the game, especially how prevalent Feast was, which was, where Aunt May worked, and they had that be where she works. Somebody that plays that, is familiar with Doc Ock's journey in that. He starts as a good guy. He's a mentor for Peter. Then he, builds the arms because he has a degenerative disease, in his, brain that's affecting his muscles. So the arms are, sort of to replace that and take all of that over. There are elements of that, not to that extreme or anything like that in Spider-Man 2, that the arms are, part of, whatever's messing with his head. But, in the game, Peter wanted to develop a chip to fix Otto, and in this movie, that's what he does. And having Alfred Molina then, become a good guy at the end, even though it was, expected at some point, was a lot of fun, and you can't go wrong with it. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. The thing that I'm not a sucker for, one thing that I really don't like, and this is my least favorite part of the film, is this whole forgetting thing. Okay, I do not like this. I do not like it. Sam, I do not like it in a with a fox. I do not like it in a box. I did not like it in Endgame, when Gamora shows up and replaces the old Gamora, and then now we're gonna have to go on this journey with Peter Quill to, like, get back into Gamora's pants. And it's like there was already all this great chemistry and, build up between the two of them. Having to go through all of that again is like, it's worse than a character dying to me. I really, really was hoping that, when Peter went into that coffee shop, and Zendaya, looks at him and like gives him the coffee, that she was gonna play it up a little bit and then just say, "Nah, I'm just messing with you. I remember you." And Ned was just like, yeah, hey man, you said we were gonna forget you, but we didn't. And then we find out that Doctor Strange, when he's doing the, the whole thing, he decided, oh, you know what? I'm gonna at least let him have those two people. That would have been the happy ending, right? But here we are, essentially rebooting the series again. No one knows who he is. Everybody's forgotten. The Avengers, his friends. That's it. It's a very depressing ending, It tries to be hopeful, but it's pretty depressing. And I do wonder if Sony is doing this as a potential way out of the Disney Marvel shadow. Are they trying to separate from them? Are they trying to go off and do their own thing with Spider-Man again? The only reason that Disney was able to use Spider-Man in Civil War and all of that was a product of, the poor reception of Amazing Spider-Man 2 teamed with the Sony hack, and that Sony needed to, sort of get into the good graces and get their capital back up, among other things. But now, Sony could go and make that Spider-Man movie that grosses $1 billion without having to split profits with Disney, where they couldn't do that before. So, and I mean, in their deal, Sony's keeping all of the money for this movie to begin with anyway. I don't know. I don't know where they essentially win with this. But now we have to have a movie where he either, decides that he wants to tell MJ and Ned who he is, or we don't see, Ned until a couple of movies later, where without the guidance of Peter Parker, he does become the Hobgoblin, right? So even though he said he would never betray Peter in the film, man, I think that that's what they're gonna do, and it's stinky. That's stinky. Just let Ned be like the good Ned. Let there be like a multiverse Ned. That's the Hobgoblin. We don't need that. One thing that was very clear and very obvious in as a filmmaker watching this, was that this film was a product of the pandemic. I think that there were a lot of things that could have been done on a much larger scale had there not been something called COVID-19. If you think about the film and you go back and maybe even rewatch it, pay attention to how many scenes are just closed rooms with a lot of people talking rather than being outside. And a lot of that, even the outside stuff, is actually them on a soundstage in front of a green screen. Now, this is twofold. One, to protect everybody from COVID-19, and then two, to protect anybody from taking pictures from outside. And, come to find out that, of course, Toby and Andrew are in the movie, right? Nobody was going to go into this movie and think that wasn't going to happen. And for me, Andrew Garfield was actually like the emotional core of the movie. I loved what he did, and it was actually the only moment in the film that like really sort of like got me really emotional.
Gonna cry?
Was when MJ falls off the Statue of Liberty, and then Andrew Garfield finally gets to redeem himself in a way for what happened at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2. And for as disjointed as that film ended up being, I wish Andrew Garfield did get a third movie. I liked it, but then at the same time, I think that the real draw of those two films was the relationship between Andrew and Emma Stone. It's really great chemistry there. That makes sense. I mean, they dated in real life. And honestly, Andrew Garfield stole the show. He just seemed so genuinely happy to be there and be able to put that suit back on. And that was cool to see. And a big shout out to the boy Toby. You know, he didn't have to be here. He didn't have to do this. But he came. He did it for us. I just wish the script gave him a little more to do. I feel like out of all of the Spider-Men, he was the most underutilized. But either way, those are my thoughts for Spider-Man No Way Home. Did I have a great time in the theater watching it? Sure did. Are there things that I didn't like about it? Sure are. Will I watch the movie again? Sure will. And that's just the way these things go. So I hope everybody else has a good time in the theater, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Where do we go from here with Spider-Man, right? I've been Randy Troy. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys real soon. Later.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.